got the bed out. I've got you.
You've got me! Who's got you?
Well, I just hope this coincidence hasn't put you off track, Chris. Statistically speaking, of course, it's still the safest way to travel.
Who are you?
A friend.
Hello people, welcome to the Creator of Bricks. Today I have a review of Superman the Movie Collector's Edition by McFarlane Toys. It's one that I have been wanting for a long time. It's my favorite live action Superman is Christopher Reeve. He's one of my inspirations in my life. I know that's very dramatic, but it's true. I always look to Christopher Reeve as an inspiration to me, with his battle of going through not being able to walk anymore after his horse riding accident. It's just someone I've always taken a lot of inspiration from in my life, in terms of someone who's strong even when it's hard to be strong. So he's a version of Superman that I've wanted for a while from McFarlane. Being a big McFarlane fan, having a Superman the movie figure is one that it's one that I wanted for a while. So yeah, I wanted to look over the figure, and yeah, let's start with the accessories. So first off, let's start with his hands. The most unique and my favorite accessory for the hands, at least, the Kryptonite holding hand. It would have been cool if there was two of these, one of these being green and one of them being clear, so you can have just one of the regular Kryptonian crystals that he puts into the console in the Fortress of Solitude. It would have been cool if we got two of these. We get a pointing hand, we get two of these sort of grabbing hands, and then a set of flight hands. So then we get the Superman 3 Evil Superman. This comes from the worst Christopher Reeve Superman movie, in my opinion, which is Superman 3. The most insulting of the four movies. People say that Superman 4 is the worst Christopher Reeve Superman movie. This is the worst one. I hate Superman 3. If I ever go through the Reeve Superman movies, I always skip Superman 3. 4 I consider, at least. Superman 3 I never consider, because it's just so terrible, and there's almost nothing redeeming about Superman 3. So this is not a head that I'm too thrilled about. I would have preferred a smiling Christopher Reeve Superman head, but this is for the Platinum, so I get it. It's a good looking Christopher Reeve head. It's just not from a version of Superman that I like, not from a scene of the movie that I like, or from the movies that I like. So it's not one that I cherish very much, that head. And you get another one of these rinky-dinky McFarlane flight stands that get very loose quickly, and I get afraid to mess with them. The last accessory is the Christopher Reeve Superman card. It's a very nice photo of Reeve. I love that it's on the back of the box too. They're always on the back of the box, the cards, but I love the image that they chose for Christopher Reeve Superman. Alright, and then looking at Christopher Reeve Superman himself, you can see that it's a very nice looking blue here. Something I wasn't expecting was the House of El Crest to actually be sculpted on there, which is nice to see that it's sculpted on there. They didn't have to do that. They could have just printed it on there without any sculpting and just left it like that, so they could reuse it for comic Superman, which they still can because it's a printed actual crest, but the shape is specific to Reeve, kind of. Another thing I like about this Superman is the yellow S on the back of the cape. We don't get that very much on McFarlane Superman. It's starting to come in more now that we're getting wired capes. They're starting to put the yellow S on there a little bit more. It's still not quite a common enough occurrence on Superman figures to get the yellow S on the cape, so seeing it here, very nice to have. This is actually my first Superman with a yellow S on the back of the cape, and Superman to have a wired cape as well. So it's been fun messing around with this cape. It's a very nice cloth material. It's better than the Batman. The Batman fall capes have been more this rougher material, which is opposed to Superman's more soft kind of t-shirt material. I prefer greatly. I wish they would use that on the Batman capes, but that's fine. I get that Batman and Superman have different materials for their capes. This was supposed to be a more softer, kind of flowy cape that's a little bit thinner than Batman's, which is more tactical and it's supposed to be gliding. As far as the Superman Christopher Reeve likeness goes, it looks like Christopher Reeve from most angles. It's slightly off the likeness a little bit. Like, I think it's the eyes that throw it off slightly. There's something about the eyes that don't quite replicate kind of the piercing blue eyes of Christopher Reeve. In, like, you'll see in like all the photos that his eyes are a little piercing, which this one doesn't quite have that piercing that I think Christopher Reeve's eyes have, which, I don't know, that might not be the problem, but I think that's what's throwing it off for me from looking completely like Reeve. But I think for the most part it looks like Christopher Reeve from most angles, and I think it's a good enough likeness to Reeve. The other head actually has a better likeness to Christopher Reeve, I think. You can see a little bit more, because there's a bit more of an expression going on, so it can be a bit more specific, and it can highlight specific facial features of Reeve. So I think that's why that probably looks like Reeve more than the neutral head. Something people were complaining about that I saw was that the figure has no sculpting detail at all. It does in places, like the boots here. You can see the stretching of the boots around the calf of Superman here. You can see it's sculpted to be stretching, which looks nice, and you know, it does give it a little bit of an extra oomph, because it could have just been solid red plastic. The House of L crest is also really well printed on there. There's not really much scuffing there. There's a little bit of a thing right here and maybe like a dot right here, but it mostly looks good. I'm not sure what the dark red around this side is about. Alright, the next thing I want to look over is the articulation. So the articulation on Christopher Reeve Superman is mostly good. There's a few places that are lacking. So first thing we'll look at is the head. So the head can go up pretty well. I would have wished for more. Down goes down pretty well. You know, that's a good amount. And then to the side is like that. And same thing other side. So pretty good everywhere but up, I'd say. It really could use some more upward movement. And then for the torso articulation, he goes this far back, which can get you that flight pose right there. Here's what the ab crunch is going to get you. For the shoulders, you get the all the way around here, and then that looks pretty nice when you get it more upwards. You get a more seamless looking shoulder to torso right there, so that can really help the look by having them higher up like that, giving it broader shoulders. And then bicep swivel goes all the way around, kind of basic stuff there. And then double jointed elbows, it's kind of ugly right there, of a weird shape. It's like a diamond right there. For the wrist, you get 5 clicks. You get a swivel right here, and you get a swivel right here, so you can get that posability right there. And it works pretty well. Same thing on the other side, just the bicep swivel, go all the way around, double joints. So pretty good articulation at the arm. For the crotch, you get this much up right here, so you can get Superman kicking Lex Luthor in his face. Double jointed knees, and the thigh swivel is not very good at all. And for the ankles, you get 4.5 clicks you get out of the ankle in terms of moving there, so kind of okay, but you know, could be better. And then you get swivel at the top here, and then a pivot right there. And then the toe doesn't really go up, but I don't even know why you'd really be doing toe crunching with Christopher Reeve Superman. He's not really one who would be crunching his toes. He's pretty posable. I think the weak points here are the torso articulation, and then going up with the head here. So I think it'd be better on those points. And then something else real quick, I wanted to show off a head swap with the DC Classic Superman. I think if the body was smaller or the head was bigger, it would work, because this is what I thought of doing since it didn't come with a smiling head. I think having a smiling Superman head would have been nice on this. So my idea was to get the DC Classic one and put it on there, but the head's too small for this body. And since I decided to bring that Superman out, here's a comparison between DC Classic Superman and the Christopher Reeve Superman. This costume has always reminded me of the Superman Returns suit, so I think it would be it's kind of interesting to see these two. Kind of Superman Returns kind of S thing, which is the successor to Christopher Reeve Superman. Here he is next to Cyborg Superman. This is a custom I made, Cyborg Superman. This isn't how Cyborg Superman looked originally. And here's Christopher Reeve Superman with Doomsday. You can see that you can't really see Doomsday in frame, but this is my custom Doomsday. And then here he is with my custom New 52 Lex Luthor right here. And here he is with my favorite comic Batman. Here he is with my customized black suit Superman. Here he is with Superman Animated. And here he is right next to Superman Blue. And then here he is next to my custom Battle Damage Superman from the Doomsday 2-pack. Next to slightly customized General Zod. The original release of Lobo. My custom version of Metallo using the Necro Warrior from the Warhammer McFarlane line. My metallicized Steel, Henry Cavill Superman in the black suit. Here's Henry Cavill Superman's head on the Christopher Reeve suit body. I don't really like how this looks, but I mean, I guess it's someone out there who wants to do this. Injustice 2 Brainiac. Next to my custom Rebirth Superman. Next to the Gold Label Green Lantern. Next to my custom Collector's Edition Green Lantern. Next to Nightfall Batman. Next to Flashpoint Flash. Next to Rebirth Martian Manhunter. Next to my custom John Kent Superboy. Next to Injustice 2 Supergirl. Next to my custom Flash movie Supergirl. Next to the Mongol Mega Figure. Next to the Mega Figure Darkseid. Next to the Dark Knight Returns Superman. So my final thoughts on this figure are, I think this is a pretty good Superman. It's very poseable. I think there's some problems with the articulation, but I think it gets most of the spots that need to be there for a Superman figure. I would have preferred a little bit more muscle definition on this one, but Christopher Reeve's, his suit didn't exactly show too much of the ab definition. It showed a little bit, and then it was mostly ribcage that you saw with that suit. I think this looks like Christopher Reeve for the most part, and they got it pretty accurate in terms of the suit design. It looks like that costume, and you know, I think they did a good job on that. I wasn't expecting the sculpting for the House of Elcrest. I think the accessories are pretty good, though I would have liked to have seen the kryptonite necklace that Lex puts on him before he goes in like the pool and tries to drown Superman. I think that would have been a cool thing to throw in. I think I'm gonna give this an 8.5 out of 10. I think they mostly hit the marks, but I think there's a few things that could have been changed to make this perfect. But yeah, I think this is a pretty solid Superman. I don't know if it's my favorite Superman in my collection, because I still feel like the DC Classic Superman is a bit more of what I want in a Superman, so it's not my favorite Superman in my collection, but it might be 2 or 3. It might be 2, actually. This is a very close number 2 behind the DC Classic. I think this is still the peak of Superman for McFarlane. It just has a lot of that ab definition. I love the design of the costume. I'm a big fan of Superman Returns, that costume, and that's what it reminds me of, like I said earlier. So I'm a little biased with this one. All it needs is a cloth cape and smaller hands. Yeah, that's why I feel with this one, that's what it just needs to be the perfect, but it's still my favorite Superman in my collection. It also has the smiling head that the Christopher Reeve figure is missing. That's my final thoughts on the Christopher Reeve Superman. Let me know if you're gonna get this figure, or if you already have it. Let me know what your thoughts are on this figure. If you feel the same way, if you're disappointed with the figure. I think the figure managed to hit my expectations. I didn't have super high expectations. It hit my decent expectations. I wasn't like super excited. I was passively excited. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get this, but I'm not gonna sit here and obsess over it 24/7 looking for when it's gonna ship. Thoughts on this Superman? 8.5 out of 10. Almost great, but still slightly missing some things, and it could have hit some stronger points a little bit better. Thanks for watching, and bye-bye.
Now time for you to rejoin your new world and to serve its collective humanity. Live as one of them, Kal-El. To discover where your strength and your power are needed. And always hold in your heart the pride of your special heritage. They can be a great people, Kal-El. They wish to be. They only lack the light to show the way. For this reason, above all, their capacity for good. I have sent them you, my only son.